And welcome to Hoopsville courtside from the Salem Civic Center following Amherst and Williams, and really it was Williams. Dan Priest joining me from Kenyon, and of course Manchester's Matt Nadborn. I am Dave McHugh. If you've got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville, email us, or hashtag D3H2. Email us hoopsville at D3Hoops.com. It is always hard to beat a team 4 times, right? Is that the saying?
I guess so, yeah.
Is that like what it is?
Look like it.
Williams goes on to win 98-69. To quote someone else, didn't see that one coming.
No, I wouldn't brag it. I didn't either at all.
No, it was a clinic. It was just a straight-up clinic. And Williams went with the zone early, right from the start, and it really took Amherst out of what they wanted to do offensively, and then they just rolled all night long.
Charlie Brock said in the pregame that, you know, after you've known this team, I mean, they played 9 times in the last 3 years. They played 4 times this year, or going to. You got to find something you think that you didn't capitalize. Do you think that was a defensive mindset, or do you think there was something you saw on the offense that maybe Williams did well?
Well, I don't know. I guess when you play someone that many times, you know, do you try and change and tweak things? Do you try and do better at what you're doing? They were just so efficient offensively. You know, I guess they guard them fairly well, but when you're back on defense and you're not turning over and you get your defense back and set in front of them because you're scoring literally almost every time and getting such high percentage shots that you know, makes things a lot easier. But they were so efficient offensively.
At what point did you think this game was over?
Pretty early, actually. I mean, they just kept extending. I thought they made Amherst made a little run at them in the end of the first half, but they came out in the second half. Williams, and I counted that I think they were scoring on their first 10 of 11 possessions, and at that point, I mean, it was, and they couldn't guard them, and they didn't really try to change anything. And I'm not criticizing Coach Hickson; he's an awful good coach, but you know, they just had nothing going defensively, and the efficiency, like Coach said, was just phenomenal for Williams.
The other thing that jumps out at you, and it's off the board already, but at last I checked, and I'm pretty sure it stayed the same, Aaron Toomey had 3 points and 4 fouls. You know, a lot of people would then say, okay, what did Williams do defensively on Aaron Toomey? But they played a 2-3 zone the whole time. They didn't necessarily do anything to Toomey.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Again, when you're so efficient offensively, they're able to get their defense back set. You know where guys are. Guys aren't in transition. You know, it's a lot easier to execute your game plan there. And I'm sure if he went and did it again, he probably missed some, you know, and when you get behind there, they're probably not used to playing from behind. You know, I doubt that Amherst has been in that situation that many times, if, you know, being down 15 or so, and maybe you get away from what you're doing. But just it's harder. It's just different. You know, you're never really in that situation very often. So, you know, they're maybe getting away from what they're normally doing a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they had some game plan, but it didn't look to me like there was something, boy, we have some, you know, box and one or some trick or some double team stuff or anything like that.
Amherst never got the rhythm, and I think there's a couple things when you're zone, you're trying to give them a different look and get them going. What you're worried about a lot when you play a zone is not first shot defense, it's that rebound.
Yeah.
And Williams rebounded really well out of the zone.
Yeah, they did.
And if they didn't, that probably would have been problematic. But they never hurt them on the offensive boards.
If you're a Mary Washington Eagles fan, what you saw tonight against Amherst is exactly what you saw last week. That 2-3 zone, daring you to shoot, collapsing inside when necessary. Is there anything – I mean, they stay in that 2-3 the whole time. I don't think I saw man-to-man once. Is there anything that you think Amherst could have done to tackle that 2-3?
Oh, they kept getting in the middle of the floor, which is, you know, I mean, that's how we attack it too. You know, any type of zone, we're trying to get it to the middle of the floor and break you down. And I thought they had guys in good places, but they just, like I said, they didn't get a second shot off it. And if you can limit them to one shot, you know, you're probably going to be in good shape.
No, I mean, when you're, you know, I guess you can say you can make a few more threes, you know, maybe get some out of things. But, you know, they had such a lead that there's nothing that was going to force them out of what they were doing. You know, maybe if they get it back or they get tired or get up one, maybe they can dictate what defense they want them to play. But, you know, they weren't able to do that. And, you know, again, when you get down by that many, maybe you start pressing a little bit. But it looked to me like they got the ball in places that they wanted to. And like I said, you got to make a few jump shots. You got to get a few back.
And then you got to make some stops because then, you know, there was no run-outs for Amherst.
Yeah.
You know,
they had to work for every basket. You know, they had to set their defense, score in front of set defense every time, and that's a lot harder.
How key was it that for Coach Maker that he can go to that 2-3 and extend it extend the wings straight out to the three-point line and almost make it look like a 4-1.
Yeah, no, they were so far out that they really were. I mean, it was almost – they were guys were catching at 3-point line. They were guarded there. I mean, they were able to get the ball into the middle, into the high post there a little bit, or kind of the middle of the zone, and had a little bit of luck there. But they really were kind of long and extended there, and they weren't guys weren't just standing, catching, and shooting there. It was pretty effective for them.
If you're Coach Pat Miller.
And
you just saw this.
Zone, I think.
But I'm saying, if you're Pat Miller for Whitewater, you just saw this. What do you do? Because you don't have the size to compete.
Well, they don't have the size, and they're not putting a lot of shooters on the floor.
Right.
I mean, that's not what Whitewater's strength is. They're putting two shooters on the floor. So Williams can count shooters tomorrow night. They can know where those guys are, and they have the length. Now, totally different game, the second game, in terms of physicality from the first. I mean, I don't think there was, a couple guys breathed on each other in the second game, but in the first game that was physical. So I think that's going to be a contrast that will be interesting to see. It
will be interesting to see. I think people assume they don't shoot it real well. Boy, they're really struggling against the zone, but they're really athletic. And Whitewater can get to the glass, and they can make two people guard one by driving it against the zone. And I'm sure they'll be a lot better than what people think.
He talks about the physicality, and certainly Whitewater, Illinois Wesleyan was physical, but a man-to-man defense. If Williams is going to play 2-3, does that eliminate the physicality?
A little bit,
Whitewater
I would think. I mean, I would
table?
think you wouldn't see this. You saw just people going to the basket, smacking, pounding rugby style there a little bit. So it will, but Whitewater's going to be physical and athletic, I would think, no matter how people are going to play them. So they're going to get on the glass. If they can get stops, and get out, like you said, get out in transition before they set their zone defense, then I would think that would be a real factor, because when they can get out and get going, they can't set the zone. They don't have to score in front of a set defense. I would think that would be a huge advantage for them. But I'll bet Whitewater will be a lot better against zone. I mean, they're going to have to make some jump shots. They're going to make jump shots.
They're going to make some shots. But they'll rebound it, too.
They'll rebound.
I mean, they'll go jump on your back and
you'll see if they're allowed to jump over the back, right?
So to speak. I mean,
I know what you mean.
They're going to go hard. But, Williams had two freshmen out there, and they're a national final. Those two freshmen are phenomenal.
Mike Greenman and Duncan Robinson.
I mean, they're phenomenal. I think that Robinson, he's either going to go next year to the NBA or an MBA. I mean, he's really something.
We talk about Aaron Toomey, and this is giving me a great segue. Somebody tweeted out earlier. It's a shame he has to end his career like this. It's too bad he can't play in. He should play in the All-Star game. Yeah. You guys kind of had that opportunity. You're part of the crew.
Yeah, we did.
All-Star. You had that opportunity out there. It ended up not really working out.
Yeah.
Is there ever moments like this you're kind of like?
Well, we did. When we set it up, we thought that was what kids would want to do.
Yeah.
That was kind of our rationale. It's like, this would be great, for guys that are really good players. And every kid's got some. Every team's got one senior that's, even if it's an All-American like that, or just
Williams,
good player.
Mike Mayer would have been your choice. Yeah.
But the kids eventually that really they didn't want to do it, and we tried it for 2 or 3 years, and for whatever reason, I guess what you think in theory isn't always what happens. But you would think, boy, he'd like to play, have another chance to play and get one more game in, but. I guess the emotion of playing in a game like this, particularly something like this, playing against his arch rival and all that. Maybe he's ready to set it down. But we tried it for 2 years.
Yeah.
For 2 years, and just never really caught any traction.
Quickly, tomorrow's All-Star game. You want to give a little promo here?
Sure. Yeah. It's a 3:30 game, so it's great. We've got 18 guys. It's 2 from each region, and we have 2 that won the internet vote. So it's really good. The NABC really treats them well. The kids have a really good experience. We fly them down here, and they're treated really well. They're part of the championship banquet and everything, and they're geared up. It's a really good deal, and it's a good chance for the kids. It's a really good thing that we're doing for them. So it's right before the game. Well, people that are here, they come out. Their ticket gets them into their ticket to the game tomorrow gets them into the All-Star game too. So it's really good event for the kids.
I think it's been a great addition to the Final Four weekend. It's substituting now the third place game, and I just think it's created a lot more interest.
Illinois Wesleyan and Amherst would certainly not be thrilled to be playing tomorrow.
No, they would.
Although it would be a good game, I would like to see those
cool
two
game.
play. But I think the All-Star game is great.
Any truth he's going to coach sometime in the next 20 years?
I don't know. I'm the player, so I'm on the player side, not the coach.
Well done.
Thank you. Dodge that.
Well, he is Matt Naborn. He is Dan Priest, head coach, is here joining us to break everything. I'm making names up. I just wanted to give Matt a name. We're going to come back. Pat Coleman and I will break the game down a little bit, look ahead to tomorrow as we wrap up our Hoopsville courtside broadcast here from the Salem Civic Center. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Welcome. Thank
you.
you.
Back with more Hoopsville presented by D3Hoops.com and the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and of course the City of Salem, right after this.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
And welcome back, Hoopsville courtside from the Salem Civic Center as we're giving you our short post-game coverage here. It is late, so there's no reason to hang on too long here, and the last game was pretty status quo. I'm Dave McHugh, joined by Mr. Pat Coleman here as we look to continue to finish this up and get ready for tomorrow's game. Again, Williams unceremoniously shows Amherst the door, and we will have no repeat back-to-back champs here. They haven't had a back-to-back champ since 2009. It's also the last time we didn't have a purple winner. We will have a purple winner tomorrow, as it'll be Whitewater versus Williams, and
that's why I'm wearing purple.
I'm going to take your word for it. I mean, unceremoniously.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just
for lack of a better description.
It's a plain old whooping. You know? Come and get your whooping.
They sent
Williams
that 2-3 out there, and Amherst just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, and just in case there was any question about it, Williams comes out and scores the first 11 points of the second half to really put Amherst in a world of hurt. Toomey doesn't score until there's 8 minutes left in the game.
If that, it might have been later than that.
It was right at about the 8-minute mark, and he had a season low, obviously 3 points. A season low. He'd only had one other game, I think, all season not scoring in double digits, and it wasn't a game in which they needed him to. They needed him here to do that tonight. In the second half, about midway through the second half, they tried to do some different things. They set him up in the corner. They did get him some looks. He got the one basket, and that was it. And, frankly, just a fantastic performance all around. Williams defensively, Williams offensively, Williams in transition. Just fantastic basketball.
And it's interesting because, the Amherst fans that I chatted with, confident. And of course you are. You beat this team 3 times early in the season. As right behind us, slowly but surely, you'll see the Williams fans come through, or players come through. So fans who are reacting. This is why I
stepped aside.
They will be going out to do their interviews here momentarily. Mike Mayer, I saw Greenman. I see Duncan Robinson. I see Mike, or I keep calling him Mike, Dan Wall. And right behind us, by the way, is head coach Mike Maker's wife and son. What's interesting is, I kept talking to these Amherst fans going, hey, you don't have that much confidence. This is the 4th game. Williams is probably playing the best it's seen all season. You can't ride those earlier 3 games. And Williams, Charlie Brock said, maybe they'll find something that's different that it is working that Amherst doesn't realize. And wow,
Yeah, they certainly did that. They did that for sure. And you think back to the way the Williams season started. You remember that
loss to Southern Vermont in game 1.
Just puzzling loss in the first game of the season.
It was supposed to be a home court, ended up being neutral. Who knows if that had any effect?
Doesn't really matter, frankly. You should be able to. A team that's playing here this weekend should be able to beat Southern Vermont on the moon.
Yeah.
So any court, anytime, and just to come back and do what they did. And remember, this is a team too that even though they still have a game and a very important one left to play. Epley's a senior, Mayer's a senior, but they started 2 freshmen here tonight.
Yeah.
They started a junior. This is a team that's going to continue to be good.
Yeah.
And still.
And guys coming off the bench who are qualified.
Right, and still Amherst has not beaten Williams in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, by the way, 0-5 is Amherst versus Williams in the NCAA tournament. By the way, the last time Williams beat Amherst was in the NCAA tournament back in March of 2011. Looking ahead, Whitewater versus Williams. I don't think this is necessarily – you had 4 possible matchups for the championship game. I don't think this one was really high on anybody's list. Amherst, Whitewater had a better chance. You thought Illinois Wesleyan versus either of these two had a better chance.
I think the poll is still out there on the D3Hoops.com front page, too. When the night started, Williams was given a 13% chance by our fans to make it. Now, Whitewater, of course, was a slight favorite over Illinois Wesleyan, but for Williams to get this far, I don't think if I can do the math, 35 plus 13 divided by 2, I'm not sure that's statistically relevant, but 24% chance of this particular matchup. But like we said when the night started, any of the 4 possible matchups would be a fantastic national championship game matchup. And although it's not maybe the one,
this one, who knows?
Well, we'll see. So the onus is going to be on Whitewater to see. Look at what Williams did tonight. Look at what Williams did tonight defensively. Try to attack that zone a little bit. There's not a lot of zone that's played in the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. So
especially a 2-3 there that got extended out. I mean, really, it looked like a 4-1 with a 4 on the outside. It's not. It's a 2-3. It's 2 games in a row now that Williams has played this to incredible results.
Yeah, so if I'm not where's Chris Pesotski when you need him when you talk about attacking the 2-3 zone? You got to talk about dribble penetration up top. Yep, toss it into the high post and then get a backdoor cut. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Quick
Those
passing
sorts
around
of
the
things.
perimeter. And you and I were sitting at one point, and Kalema got the ball in the wing in the first half. Mm-hmm. Robinson had to cheat to him, and he decided to drive and miss the guy in the corner. It's little things like that you got to execute at all times. Of course, tomorrow the championship game will be played at 5:30. These 2 teams certainly going to ride it high. The coaches will be breaking the tape down all night long. Can you take anything from these 2 games to even give you an iota of thought of what happens tomorrow?
Well, if you're a coach, you have to. And, those coaches are sitting on the baseline scouting this game for that very reason. If the good thing, for Whitewater is they knew they were in the game. They knew they were scouting one of those 2 teams. And eventually, probably fairly early in the second half, they could start focusing on scouting one team. Whereas on the other hand, if you're Williams scouting the first game before you even go on the floor, how much of your attention is being paid to scouting Whitewater and Illinois Wesleyan? How much of it is being paid towards, the game that you guys have to play in an hour and a half? So I think that for one thing, playing the first game gives you a little bit of an advantage. You get to sit down, relax, see what is going on, and really apply it to your situation a little bit better. This is what coaches do. They do the 24-hour turnaround in this tournament all the time. So, Williams does it too in the NESCAC tournament, and they do it, and the players do it, playing Friday night, Saturday afternoon in the NESCAC regular season all the time. So I don't think that's going to be as big a factor. The question is, what do you take out of today, and what else does Williams have up its sleeve that it didn't show here today because it didn't need to?
How much have we been spoiled by WashU, Stevens Point, and even Williams, who had back-to-back championships? Williams playing in that second championship game, losing it by 0.2 of a second to Stevens Point, who then goes on to repeat, and then WashU comes back and does it themselves.
Yeah, we had that run. We had Virginia Wesleyan winning a title and playing in the title game the next year. Yeah. I mean, and of course you mentioned WashU repeating in 08 and 09. So, and St. Thomas getting almost as far last year. We do not have a lot of one-and-dones in Division III basketball. So, the nice thing is that, you get to build rapport is not the right thing, but you get a little extra knowledge about the teams that are still here at this point. Those teams know what it's like to play at this level. And, I thought, frankly, I still want to call you Keith.
That's okay.
I thought, frankly, Dave, we didn't really see that in the first game. Both teams came out super sloppy, and I thought that was not indicative of teams that had been here before. That second game was not played that way at all. But both of these teams have gotten the have shaken the rust off or gotten the butterflies out.
If Whitewater
or
comes up rusty on Williams, the way Williams played tonight in the last game and the game before that, they're going to be in deep trouble early on in this one. All-Star game starts at 3:30. 3 o'clock, I should say. Heard Dan Priest mention how they did for 2 years try and have the seniors from the games, semifinal losing teams participate, and how that just didn't end up working out. The players weren't as interested as people thought. I think we got spoiled with Guilford's players.
Guilford
really
and Randolph-Macon both, maybe with a little bit of ODAC pride or something
maybe,
like that.
But that was fun. But it just didn't work out as I think, was it Mike Maker is going to be my guess?
Yep.
I could tell by the ovation it was probably the head coach.
Fantastic job by them and by him and the rest of the Williams coaching staff tonight. This is just brilliant. Obviously, the players executed it, but it was a fantastic game plan. And my goodness, what a way to advance to the national title game.
You think if you're Amherst, you've seen everything. Clearly, they weren't ready for the 2-3, even though they had game tape on it from the last game. Probably they didn't think they'd use it. Who knows? But to come roaring back and come out with that 2-3, they never left that 2-3 zone. They stuck with it.
No need to.
Absolutely not. Amherst gave them no reasons.
Yeah, Amherst hit a couple of real long shots. Toomey hit that shot in the corner, but that was not enough to make them change their game plan. And that's what happens when you win 98-69. A lot of things work in your favor.
Yeah, just a wee bit.
Just a few.
Final thoughts before we sign off from today and start prepping for tomorrow. I'm
looking forward to a great game tomorrow. Between Whitewater and Williams, this is a matchup that you don't ever really picture or think about in Division III basketball, right? So you're talking about it's really going to be a contrast in a lot of things. It'll be a contrast in style a little bit. I know that somebody earlier in the week to us compared Whitewater to a New England team. I'm not sure that's necessarily true, but you got the big state school that's won all sorts of stuff in the last 2 or 3 years in Division III.
Kind of knows Salem really well.
You've got the elite private school that has been in has won all those Directors Cup championships. Yeah. It's going to be a real battle, and even though there are so many ways you can draw the storylines. You could draw the class warfare. You could draw the public-private storyline and all sorts of things. I'm just looking forward to basketball.
Yeah, it should be fun. By the way, Warhawk fans, maybe you hear a little bit more if they're getting on a bus or in a car anytime now. They lose their women's team losing to Whitman, kind of unceremoniously, 85-70. It is 9:30 their time. They've got, let's see.
Come on out. You can get here.
It's a 5:30 tip, so that is, I'm trying to do math in my head, 12, 17, 8, 19 and a half hours from now.
You got time. That gives you about 4 hours of break.
So, yeah, if you get or find some kind of flight.
Well, you lose an hour.
Luck. Yeah, you're right. So it's actually, it's 19 and a half by my math here, so it's 18 and a half for you.
Drive on down. Come on, get here to the Salem Civic Center. And if not, we will have audio coverage for you on D3Hoops.com starting at, I guess, about 5.
Well, we'll be on the air with the pregame, and we'll go right up to it on the audio side.
Because there's no video stream, from everything we've been told, there's no video stream from CBS Sports tomorrow, so we're your home for the title game.
Quickly, arguably, both teams are going for their second national title in the modern era. I know Whitewater has won a few others,
modern era. Nice.
But really more on the Salem area, more in the general sense of how these brackets are done now.
In the mature version of Division III.
Yeah, really. And so second title for both. Again, Whitewater fans, I know you've won other titles.
Got 3 titles total.
I know. I'm just modern era. So a lot on the line.
Don't tell Pat Miller. Was that the dead ball era? Is it the short shorts era? What is that?
It was in the regional era of Division III.
Oh, I would like to think we're out of that.
Yes.
I'm not sure that's true.
So we're going to be back on the air tomorrow. The All-Star game starts at 3. We figure we'll be on the air somewhere around 5, quarter to 5.
4:40. Yeah, those games go faster.
Yeah, so we'll hopefully be on the air with enough time to give you a preview, and then, of course, we'll do post-game coverage
and we'll announce the D3Hoops.com All-American team tomorrow. Probably not on the air, but look for it on the website.
Yeah, we'll get that to you guys. Of course, Player of the Year.
Yeah, already announced on Thursday if you missed it. So
unfortunately, has his career end here. What was it, 115 games was in jeopardy of having never scored?
He was in trouble. He was in jeopardy of going scoreless for the first time in 115 career games.
That's unbelievable, to say the least. For
craziness. just a fantastic job done by Williams again.
Absolutely.
To shut down the Lord Jeffs and to shut down the Lord Jeff, who has been the man there for the last 3 years. Just amazing.
So that'll do it for us. I want to thank everybody at D3Hoops.com, National Association of Broadcasters as well, and of course the City of Salem. Did I say broadcasters again? National Association of Basketball Coaches, and of course the City of Salem for helping us do this, and the ODAC as well for helping us with our pregame coverage and postgame coverage. We'll, of course, be back on the air yet again tomorrow to do the same as well. Go to D3Hoops.com for plenty more coverage of the men and women's basketball championship weekends. Again, tomorrow it will be Whitman versus FDU Florham. FDU Florham undefeated. Whitman with 1 loss, looking for their first national titles for both programs. Here in Salem, it'll be Wisconsin-Whitewater versus Williams. Whitewater looking for its first title since 2012. Williams looking for its first title since 2003. We'll have it all at D3Hoops.com and, of course, Hoopsville courtside tomorrow. Again, thanks to D3Hoops.com, the National Association of Broadcasters and the City of Salem. I am basketball coaches. It's stuck in my head now. And the City of Salem. I am Dave McHugh for Pat Coleman. Thank you for tuning in. Good night, and we'll see you tomorrow here on Hoopsville courtside.